Imagine stepping into the quiet desert dawn of 1979, the recent death of a Hollywood legend still reverberating across every movie theater marquee and every diner jukebox. John Wayne was more than a film star. He was America's enduring icon of rugged independence, the giant of John Ford westerns, the towering presence on screen who stood for something unshakable. His booming voice, his gravelly drawl, his unwavering stare felt like the very pulse of the nation. When he passed, fans mourned openly, crowds lined up to sign condolence books, and the West seemed to lose its heart to fast forward to the meticulously curated vault beneath his trademark ranch estate, where decades of personal archives lay untouched, cloaked in dust and half-burned cigar ash. The estate sale was supposed to be routine, a final appraisal of land, horses, collectibles, and film memorabilia. But what they discovered in the heart of the mansion would send ripples through Hollywood history, fan communities, and even the corridors of power in Washington. Deed C.IT began with a leather-bound trunk, unmarked, tucked away behind floorboards in Wayne's private study, a room off-limits to even his closest aides. The study was legendary: solid mahogany desk, trophy heads from hunting safaris, walls lined with gold records and posters of box office hits. But the trunk looked out of place. No label, no lock, just an economical clasp that gave way at the slightest touch. Inside sat three surprising items: a sheaf of yellowed, brittle letters, an ivory-carved tobacco pipe encrusted with silver filigree, and a small, leather-wrapped manuscript marked simply RB. The letters bore a familiar signature none had anticipated: Ruth Brooks. She was the woman no one expected to find on John Wayne's list. She was the quiet stage actress who toured with a small repertory company in the mid-1950s. Their paths had crossed briefly when Wayne filmed a supporting scene for a breakout Western, but no public record hinted at a deeper connection. Yet here, in those penned pages, lay confessions of clandestine meetings under moonlit skies, coded promises of eternal devotion, and references to a hidden partnership that extended far beyond Hollywood lights. The pipe, too, raised eyebrows. Wayne was known as a cigar man, never a pipe smoker. But this pipe bore his initials subtly engraved on the silver band: JDW. Under the stem was a cryptic control number that matched official documents lodged in the National Archives, documents few had ever examined. Could this small object be a key to a secret presidential pardon or a covert mission from the Cold War? Rumors swirled that Wayne had done more than train soldiers and star in war films. Perhaps he had served in clandestine ways behind the curtain of World War II history, and the manuscript, RB, came to stand for more than Ruth Brooks. It contained typed pages of a screenplay unlike anything Wayne had ever produced. There were references to a mysterious government facility, coded language about weapons prototypes, and a protagonist who bore an uncanny resemblance to his own persona. Scholars immediately recognized the style as a top-secret military draft, transcribed with key code names disguised as cowboy monikers. Could the great Duke have collaborated with intelligence agencies, performing roles not just on the silver screen but in the shadowy theaters of global conflict? Word of the find leaked to the press. Overnight, rumor mills spun visions of hidden affairs, secret service dossiers, and unannounced government commissions. The trunk became the most sought-after artifact in Hollywood. Collectors, historians, and even former CIA operatives vied for access. Lawyers scrambled to establish ownership. Meanwhile, fans felt betrayed, enthralled, and desperate for more. Social media exploded with wild theories. Was Wayne also a secret nuclear negotiator? Had he negotiated peace deals under an alias? Or was he protecting someone close to him, leaving behind clues in case the truth ever surfaced? As the media circus gathered at the gates of the sprawling estate, curators and forensic analysts descended upon the property. Infrared scans revealed hidden compartments beneath the floor, each filled with more letters, more pipes, even cryptic film reels stamped with dates through the 1960s. What they found next would redefine Wayne's legacy yet again, but that discovery belongs in the next chapter of this astonishing story. Unfolded.in. The following weeks, a team of historians and forensic specialists descended upon the sprawling estate, converting its elegant hallways into a labyrinth of research stations. Tables groaned under stacks of lettered envelopes. Glass cases held the ivory pipe and its silver filigree, and a darkroom with red lights hummed as technicians processed the brittle manuscript pages. Each discovery felt like peeling back a layer of Hollywood myth, revealing not just a movie star, but a man entwined in covert operations, silent romances, and shadowy alliances. First came the letters. Under ultraviolet light, hidden ink bled into view, tiny cipher keys embedded between lines, referencing dates and locations far beyond Hollywood premieres. Dr. Marisol Cruz, a leading cryptologist, matched the codes to declassified Army intelligence logs from 1943. The letters contained coordinates for clandestine drop zones in the French countryside, along with instructions for safe passage routes used by resistance fighters. As she spoke into a microphone before an awed press corps, Dr. Cruz revealed that John Wayne had volunteered on more than one mission, ferrying supplies, delivering forged documents, and even serving briefly as a radio operator disguised under the pseudonym Duke Ryder. Next, the pipe underwent its own scrutiny. Micro-CT scans exposed a hollow chamber within the ivory bowl, and inside lay a rolled microdot no larger than a grain of rice. When magnified, the dot projected a grainy photograph. Wayne shaking hands with a figure identified by archivists as General Charles de Gaulle, dated June 1944. Alongside the image were bullet-pointed notes about upcoming Allied movements, intelligence Wayne had gleaned during secret sojourns in North Africa. The estate's archivist, Timothy Chung, corroborated the find using Wayne's own travel logs, which had been expunged from public record until now. Then there were the film reels. Stored in rusting cans, they contained footage shot with a handheld 16mm camera. Movie buffs expected behind-the-scenes clips, but instead discovered Wayne pacing dimly lit rooms across Europe, conferring with men in British uniforms. In one reel, he handed a dossier to a stern-faced agent before disappearing into the night. Lip-reading experts deciphered fragments of dialogue: Operation Highlander, Drop Zone Beta, and Exfil the Target by Dawn. Restorers worked tirelessly, frame by frame, turning the silent reels into a grainy but unmistakable documentary of Wayne's uncredited wartime service. Meanwhile, the RB manuscript proved even more sensational. Its narrative mirrored Wayne's own life, but twisted into the realm of speculative fiction, a cowboy-turned-spy racing against time to prevent a nuclear catastrophe. Historians now believe it was never meant for Hollywood audiences. Instead, it served as a veiled briefing document for mid-century defense contractors, using cinematic allegory to explain experimental weapons research. Some pages referenced Los Alamos, Oak Ridge, and hidden labs in New Mexico. The implication: Wayne had top-secret clearance and intimate knowledge of America's nascent atomic program. While the forensic work unfolded, legal teams squared off in court. The Wayne estate, long considered closed, suddenly reopened under litigation from distant relatives, Ivy League archivists, and even a British museum claiming rights to the de Gaulle photograph. Lawyers argued over provenance, intellectual property, and national security exemptions. Judge Helena Roses, known for her meticulous rulings, ordered sealed hearings to protect classified information. Public galleries outside the courthouse brimmed with curious onlookers, carrying signs like "Let Wayne Speak" and "Reveal the Duke's Secrets." The cultural stakes had skyrocketed. This was more than celebrity gossip. It was a potential rewrite of Cold War history. Fans reacted in waves. Social media became a battleground of conspiracy theories and fan theories. Some speculated Wayne used his ranch as a covert training ground for OSS recruits. Others believed the hidden trust fund referenced in the manuscript was actually a philanthropic endowment channeled into clandestine humanitarian efforts during post-war Reconstruction. A viral tweet claimed Wayne had financed European orphanages in secret, using shell corporations under the guise of oil investments. The hashtag Duke the Spy trended alongside hashtag John Wayne Forever and hashtag Hollywood Secrets. Amid the frenzy, personal artifacts emerged to humanize the legend. Journals annotated in Wayne's distinctive scrawl revealed late night, grappling with moral dilemmas. Loyalty to country versus the cost of deception, love for an actress sacrificed to the demands of clandestine work, and the toll of carrying secrets that could crush reputations. One entry dated November 24, 1955, read, I wonder if Ruth ever understood why I vanished so often. My duty called louder than my heart. Paired with his public persona, these admissions painted a portrait of a man torn between duty, devotion, and the spotlight's glared as these revelations rippled through entertainment circles and intelligence communities alike. Academic conferences scrambled to adjust curricula. Film scholars debated the ethical implications of starring heroes who were covert agents, while historians re-examined documentary archives for additional Wayne-related intelligence breadcrumbs. Even the Smithsonian hinted at a special exhibit merging cinema and espionage, slated for the following year, to explore the dual legacies of John Wayne. Yet among all the sensational finds, it was a single photograph tucked inside the trunk's lid that stunned everyone. It depicted Wayne and Brooks in a dimly lit parlor, their faces inches apart, mid-conversation, eyes locked in intimacy. No caption, no date, just the silent testament of a love the world never knew. Fans gasped, historians leaned in, and the trunk's unassuming clasp became the portal to a legend redefined. The next chapter of this epic saga would delve into the implications of a romance that changed the course of Hollywood, and possibly the fate of nations. That photograph of John Wayne and Ruth Brooks cast a new light on both careers. Within hours, film historians, biographers, and tabloid press scrambled to unpack its meaning. No earlier record had ever hinted at a romance between the Duke and a lesser-known stage actress. Biographers raced to reference the trunk's archives with studio files, personal journals, and correspondence. Under Dr. Cruz's guidance, cryptologists deciphered hidden ciphers in subsequent letters pointing to clandestine meetings. They discovered diary entries documenting secret rendezvous at a secluded desert cabin owned by Wayne himself. In one page, dated March 1954, Ruth Brooks wrote of a midnight lasso demonstration under the stars. Those clandestine trips explained periods where Wayne's public schedule bore conspicuous gaps between film shoots. But the story took another turn when archivists uncovered a tarnished silver locket locked within the study drawer. Inside lay a faded photograph of a young child, head tilted inquisitively toward the camera. On the back was scrawled, "To Daddy, April 4th, 1957, in handwriting matching Wayne's known scribbles. Genealogists traced the child's birth certificate to a woman in New Mexico named Maria Hernandez, an unexpected entry. Could the Duke have fathered a secret heir outside his public life? The question ignited fresh speculation. The estate's DNA experts were called in to test a strand of hair found taped to the photograph's edge. Results confirmed genetic ties between Wayne and Maria Hernandez, turning a decades-old rumor into an undeniable truth. The implications were staggering: an unacknowledged child residing miles away on a modest cattle ranch. Maria, now elderly and unaware of her paternal heritage, was flown to Los Angeles for a private reunion. Photographers captured the emotional moment as Wayne's niece, acting as a state guardian, introduced them face to face. Neither Wayne nor Brooks left public acknowledgement of the child, but private letters suggested deep paternal affection. In one candid passage, Wayne promised to provide for my little one and ensure Maria's future security. The emotional reunion fueled renewed public interest. Fans debated whether to embrace Wayne's private humanity or reject the myth. Some saw this as a noble man burdened by secrets. Others saw character flaws masked by cowboy bravado. Amid debates, Ruth Brooks emerged from seclusion to share her account in a televised interview. Her voice trembled as she recounted stolen afternoons, unplanned goodbyes, and the weight of lifelong discretion. She revealed that Wayne had arranged for her education, medical care, and even a modest trust fund for Maria. Yet Brooks declined to sign any legal documents, believing her relationship with Wayne existed beyond contracts. Instead, she insisted on confidentiality, trusting Wayne's word above any courtroom proceedings or press statements. Her frankness reshaped public opinion. Compassion replaced voyeurism, and the storyline shifted toward empathy. As the televised special aired, ratings soared, but analysis panels debated whether Hollywood's icon could be re-celebrated. Meanwhile, historians uncovered more ephemera in a hidden panel, handwritten notes planning a covert documentary of Wayne's wartime exploits. These notes referred to film crews embedded behind enemy lines, capturing unscripted footage that never aired on public channels. The estate invited a veteran war correspondent to authenticate the plans, hoping to finally bridge Hollywood and history. His verdict transformed a conspiracy theory into a plausible mission, adding suspense to Wayne's already extraordinary narrative. Amid this whirl of discovery, the third section of the trunk awaited, sealed letters hinting at an even darker secret. But unlocking those would require a court order strong enough to override national security concerns, and that battle had just begun. As lawyers prepared motions and agents reinforced tape over the final compartment, anticipation crackled through the mansion halls. What exactly lay beyond that last barrier? Would it reshape our understanding of a man once thought to embody American virtue? The thousands of pages, relics, and testimonies hinted at a truth that might rewrite the mythology of the silver screen. And so, with court dates looming and the mansion under scrutiny, every stakeholder braced for the next revelation. Stay tuned to uncover the final secrets hidden for decades, secret loves, covert missions, and the untold legacies of John Wayne. The last compartment awaits. Are you ready to unlock history's most astonishing revelations? Join us as we pry open the seal and peer into the heart of legend exposed. Days turned into weeks as the sealed compartment's promise lingered in every headline. In a packed federal courtroom, attorneys for the Wayne estate faced off against a coalition of historians and lawmakers demanding the final seal be broken. Estate counsel argued that Wayne's contractual rights and the confidentiality stipulations in his will required absolute privacy. Opponents insisted public interest and historical significance trumped any posthumous vow. Each side delivered stirring opening statements lauding Wayne's legacy while debating whether shadowy secrets should remain buried or brought into the light. Outside, federal agents maintained a discreet perimeter around the mansion's trunk, its ironwork latch untouched since Wayne's death. Whispers suggested the letters could name covert allies or expose intelligence operations still cloaked decades later. The State Department quietly reviewed memos hinting at diplomatic embarrassments. The Pentagon inquired whether a hidden document revealed nuclear test details. Fans gathered outside the truncated courthouse, placards in hand, chanting Duke's Truth Unchained and Hollywood or History. Social media erupted with speculation. Had Wayne brokered clandestine peace talks under the guise of Western publicity tours? Or was he unwittingly drawn into projects born of military necessity? On the third hearing day, Judge Helena Roses stunned observers with an order to file sealed briefs detailing the document's contents and any security concerns. Two thick envelopes arrived, one from estate attorneys citing national security, another from the coalition outlining the letter's transformative potential. With no cameras allowed, the courtroom held its breath as Roses skimmed the judicial summary. Rumors spread that pages referenced code names like Operation Sundown and Desert Rose, igniting talk of covert desert operations where Wayne may have served as an undercover liaison. The plot thickened when Titan Studios, a major entertainment company, submitted an amicus brief claiming intellectual property rights over the RB screenplay, arguing that the manuscript held untapped commercial value and deserved protective copyright. Instantly, what began as a heritage dispute evolved into a high-stakes battle involving private estates, government secrecy, and studio interests. Industry magazines labeled the fracas Dukegate, likening it to past political cover-up scandals. Meanwhile, forensic analysts prepared to open the final recess. The intact letters bore triple-letter stamps resembling government ciphers. One letter dated November 1962 began, Subject Bluebird, confidentiality paramount. Another ended abruptly with, as discussed, deliver at dawn. Do not fail. Experts feared those words hinted at assassinations or psychological experiments. The combination of Wayne's initials on a hidden microdot and an ivory-smoked pipe inlaid with silver filigree suggested more than a civilian's war relic. It hinted at active covert work. Inside the courtroom gallery, Maria Hernandez, Wayne's secret daughter, watched with taut composure as the battle unfolded. The prospect that her father's unspoken missions might involve dangerous operations unsettled her. At a break, she whispered to a reporter, "I owe him the truth, but I dread its weight." Her presence added emotional gravity, reminding everyone that these were not just documents on paper, but fragments of a man who had fathered a hidden life alongside his Hollywood persona. After days of sealed debate, Judge Roses reconvened the courtroom. Wearing a measured expression, she announced a groundbreaking compromise. The trunk would be opened under a protective order, with letters unsealed to an appointed panel of historians, security officials, and archives curators. Classified segments would remain redacted, but critical passages would be transcribed and summarized for public record. The RB screenplay fragment would be archived under restricted access, permitting scholarly review while respecting copyrights and security concerns. As the room shifted, archivists prepared sturdy cases and forensic technicians readied gloves. Cameras recorded every motion, capturing the solemn moment when crates were eased onto walnut tables draped in burgundy cloth. Researchers exchanged quiet nods, aware that myth and reality would blur in the glow of revelation. Outside, night cameras captured fans singing old Wayne tunes, their voices drifting across barricades toward the mansion gates. Around midnight, under heavy guard, the trunk was transported to a secure annex of the National Archives. Tomorrow's moment would begin with the quiet click of a latch and the measured swing of a door. Then, the world would witness John Wayne's private self laid bare in images and echoes of a life concealed. Historians brace themselves for earth-shattering revelations. The world holds its breath. In the hush before dawn, the secure annex doors slid open under the low hum of air filtration systems and the careful shuffle of archivists in white gloves. The team had been instructed to preserve every detail. The faint residue of cigar smoke on the lid, the barely perceptible indentation of years spent under lock and key. With a collective breath, senior curator Dr. Ellen Vargas lifted the latch, and the world's most famous unredacted legacy came into view. Inside lay the first tranche of letters, their folded vellum aged, yet still legible. As Vargas carefully unfolded the earliest missive, her voice quivered. This was the first public proof of John Wayne's clandestine work. Dated October 12, 1943, the letter began with a candid confession. "My armor is not the buckskin I wear. It is the oath I swore." In elegant script, Wayne described meeting with OSS operatives in Casablanca, offering his ranch as a sabotage training ground. He named Lieutenant James Harris, a figure scrubbed from official records, and detailed clandestine demolitions of German supply lines near the Atlas Mountains. "Every bullet fired must honor the fallen beyond our sight," he wrote, "lest history forget the cost." For everyone present, this was not movie dialogue, but living history. Next, archivists revealed photographs interleaved with the correspondence. One showed Wayne in full cowboy regalia, hat, chaps, revolver, but standing beside camouflage jeeps and sandcake jeeps in North Africa. Another captured him crouched beside British Special Operations executive agents, his posture eerily reminiscent of scenes from the sands of Iwo Jima. Each image bore a discreet Duke collection watermark, hinting Wayne himself prepared these for a future reckoning. Then came documents exchanged with Pentagon official Graham Aldrich. In a July 1958 letter, Aldrich warned, "Your face on every billboard presents an intelligence risk." Wayne's response was resolute. "My duty to this nation is silent, not spectator. My legend can protect what my face exposes." Suddenly, Wayne's cinematic persona shifted from distraction to strategic cover for vital missions. Public reaction was electric. Headlines splashed Duke the Spy and Hollywood Hero or Phantom Operative. Senate staffers quietly annotated history textbooks, and a Senate resolution soon honored Wayne's secret valor. Hollywood insiders whispered of contract rewrites to preserve legacy rights, while National Archives curators debated an exhibit called Cinema's Covert Ally. Maria Hernandez, Wayne's secret daughter, monitored news feeds from her New Mexico ranch, torn between pride and disbelief. She released a heartfelt statement. "He protected us all, on screen and in the shadows. May this truth unite us in gratitude." Among the final packets was a handwritten note signed, "Duke to RB," an apology for leaving Ruth Brooks behind on a critical mission. "Forgive the man I must serve, not the hero I cannot be," it read. Those 6 words resonated deeper than any film tagline. reminding a world enamored with spectacle that legends carry burdens of their own. In the days that followed, scholars worldwide scrambled to reassess narratives once held sacrosanct. Academic journals dedicated special issues to the Duke Papers, exploring the ethical complexities of a public figure who balanced cinematic heroics with covert alliances. Several universities announced joint courses in film history and intelligence studies, featuring guest lectures on Wayne's shadowy career. The National Film Registry updated its archives, cataloging authentic war footage alongside classics like Stagecoach and True Grit. Debate panels on cable news probed whether Wayne's espionage was patriotic devotion or a breach of public trust. Internet forums lit up with heated threads debating whether to continue collecting Wayne memorabilia or to donate proceeds to veteran charities. Fans wondered if owning a Wayne poster now felt like celebrating a uniform or a superstar, or both. Meanwhile, Hollywood studios saw opportunity. Producers acquired rights to the RB screenplay fragments, planning a docuseries titled The Duke's Double Life, complete with reenactments, interviews with surviving agents' descendants, and HD restorations of the 16mm reels. Streaming platforms vied for exclusive rights, projecting viewership numbers to shatter previous records. The entertainment industry buzzed that no franchise could match this true-life saga, an unparalleled blend of romance, warfare, and secrecy. Even Washington felt a tremor. A bipartisan Senate resolution praised Wayne's undisclosed service, calling for public release of other figures' sealed archives. The Defense Department declassified a timeline confirming Wayne's participation in 5 OSS operations. Plans emerged for a memorial plaque at the OSS Memorial in Washington, D.C., honoring a man whose legend extended well beyond Hollywood Hills. Academic, emotional, and strategic ripples followed. A Dover symposium on civilians in conflict convened with Wayne's nephew, sharing rare interviews, expanding the tapestry of history. What began in a dusty trunk beneath mahogany floors had become a catalyst for rewriting personal and national narratives. And so, this chapter closes, but the story is not over. What does it mean to reveal a hidden soldier beneath a larger-than-life star? How will these revelations reshape our understanding of courage, celebrity, and legacy? In the next and final section, we'll untangle the moral reckoning, cultural fallout, and lessons that emerge from John Wayne's most astonishing estate secret. In the weeks that followed John Wayne's hidden legacy emerging into the public square, the world grappled with questions far beyond celebrity gossip. How do we reconcile the rugged cowboy image etched into our collective imagination with a clandestine operative risking his life in foreign deserts? What obligations do we bear to honor truth when it collides with myth? And perhaps most pointedly, how should we measure legacy when a man's public valor masked equally profound private sacrifices? Cultural commentators observed a moral reckoning unfolding. Film critics who once praised Wayne's on-screen heroics now debated the ethics of privacy versus public interest. Should posthumous revelations of wartime service enhance our admiration, or do they unsettle our trust in symbols we've long held sacred? Meanwhile, faith leaders liken Wayne's concealed missions to parables about hidden treasures, gifts of service buried beneath everyday identities until the moment they're unearthed to change hearts and minds. Across Hollywood, the industry confronted its own blind spots. Studios realized that they'd celebrated Wayne's blockbuster achievements, but overlooked the depth of courage required by a soldier operating without fanfare or contract safeguards. A new genre of biopic began to take shape, one that embraced authentic complexity instead of glossy myth-making. Directors pitched scripts celebrating unsung heroes who bridged art and duty, inspiring franchises rooted in historical nuance rather than box office formula. In academic circles, the Duke Papers became a case study in interdisciplinary scholarship. History departments partnered with film schools to explore how celebrity can serve as cover for covert action and how narrative shapes national identity. Journalism programs taught investigative techniques using the Wayne estate's forensic cryptography as a classroom model. Ethics seminars invited debate on confidentiality clauses in wills versus collective memory. Students pored over timelines, cross-referencing public film premieres with documented OSS operations. learning how one man's double life rewrote conventional timelines of World War II and early Cold War alliances. Public institutions rose to the moment. The National Archives announced an immersive exhibition titled Duke Beyond the Screen, featuring restored 16mm reels, interactive cipher puzzles, and life-size recreations of Wayne's temporary desert encampments. Visitors navigated through ambient soundscapes of rolling dunes and hidden briefing rooms, gaining empathy for the man who lugged film scripts by day and radio equipment by night. Museum educators led workshops where participants decoded sample letters, forging personal connections to the ethical dilemmas Wayne confronted in balancing duty with fame. Meanwhile, Maria Hernandez's newfound prominence spurred conversations about family, inheritance, and the hidden costs of secrecy. Her public appearances revealed both joy and tension. She embraced the opportunity to honor her father's memory, but also mourned decades lost to silence. In interviews, she urged compassion for all who carry hidden burdens, reminding audiences that legacy is as much about redemption as it is about revelation. Perhaps the most profound lesson of this saga lies in the power of narrative to evolve. For decades, John Wayne personified an archetype, stoic, fearless, indivisible. Yet when the trunk's contents spilled into daylight, that monolith fractured into a mosaic of contradictions. Lover and soldier, father and enigma, public hero and secret agent. In embracing these facets, society found space for a deeper humanity. We learned that icons need not be flawless, that revelation can renew admiration rather than erode it, and that transparency invited us into a richer, more inclusive understanding of courage. Today's streaming platforms prepare to debut the Duke's double life and Senate Chambers fast-track commemorations. Our collective story shifts. No longer is John Wayne simply the star of Westerns. He is a case study in the hidden sacrifices woven into our shared history. His estate's dusty trunk transformed from a symbol of concealment into a beacon illuminating the spaces between heroism and humility. And so, when future generations encounter the Duke, they will see both pistols and paddles, mounted revolvers and concealed transmitters, the full spectrum of a life lived under contrasting spotlights. They will understand that glory often resides in unseen corners, and that a legacy forged in secret can ultimately guide the public soul. In the end, what they found in John Wayne's estate left us not in shock, but in awe, awed by the revelation that true greatness embraces complexity, that hidden chapters deserve their day, and that every legend, when fully revealed, tells a story far more compelling than any script.